What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with a pretty quick review for this new project from DaBaby called KIRK. Now, DaBaby is a rapper who's coming out of North Carolina, and he has made a lot of noise over the past year or so. He's become very popular because of his energy, personality, and humor to go along with his ability to craft these very fun, big, danceable bangers. You probably heard some of his songs on Triller, Instagram, when people make those dance videos and all that shit, you know how it goes. And I did actually listen to his mixtape Baby on Baby. It's not one that I got around to reviewing because sometimes shit falls through my fingers. That sounded disgusting, but you know what I mean. I can't get to every single project, but I will say after listening to that, I did find that his sound was kind of one-dimensional. It seems like every time I heard a DaBaby song, whether someone was sending me a feature of his to listen to, or a song, a project, whatever the case may be, it really sounded kind of formulaic and repetitive. He certainly has his own style as far as the way that he raps. He's very fast with it. He brings that charisma and personality that I mentioned earlier, but he doesn't have the depth and the detail to go along with it that really makes his music stick. So going into it, that's just kind of how I felt about him, but I was hoping that maybe he was going to get into some interesting concept because the album is named KIRK, which is his last name. Then on the cover you have a picture of him with his father who died earlier this year. These things just led me to believe that maybe he would open up and go a bit deeper, but he really doesn't, other than on that intro track, which actually was one of the singles leading up to this. I do think this is one of the best tracks on the album because he's opening up about that struggle to balance his newfound fame with his family. And then on the song Gospel, he does expand on this a little bit. He actually goes into further detail about his father and how he passed away the same week that Nipsey did. So these moments kind of stuck out to me. You guys know by now that I like content. I like when artists let us into their world because that's how you make that connection, and I think you get a lot of replay value out of that. But for the most part, you're not going to get a lot of that here. Even though the song Gospel does have a little bit of it, you're also getting some things that just don't really stick. You're getting Chance the Rapper on here sounding as bad as ever. It's like if you don't like coleslaw, if someone keeps giving you all these different types of coleslaw, you're probably still not going to like it no matter what they do with it. So I didn't care for his verse on that song Gospel. YK Osiris has these wailing vocals on there, like a fucking banshee stuck in a castle wall or some shit like that. And you get a pretty standard Gucci verse. All of this to go along with this kind of gentle, formulaic, gospel-influenced production. So I thought that song was actually kind of messy, didn't care for it, but that intro track is definitely the best song on this album, man. I really like that, but there really weren't a whole lot of positives that I took away from this album. Obviously, if you like his energy and the charisma he brings, I wouldn't argue against that. I do pick up on that in all of his music. Even in his videos, he brings a lot of energy, and I just think he's a bit of a character in the game, so there's a lot of potential there. And he does deliver those bangers with bass that is just thicker than Kosame Dash, aka Misty Quinn. If you know, you know. If you don't know, maybe you should get up on it. But anyway, you are going to get some bangers, a lot of fun tracks, but it also gets very repetitive and dry as you listen through, man. I feel like the more I listen to this project, the more some of these beats sounded similar. I couldn't really set them apart. One of the worst ones on here, though, has got to be Raw Shit. This one I did remember, but not really for a good reason, because it is just drier than dog shit on a hot summer day. The beat sounds like it has some FL Studio stock sounds. It's very empty. You're getting Migos on here just sounding worse than ever. I honestly just don't think I need to hear any more Migos, man. I don't know, like, I'm just not a fan of them. When they first came out, of course, they had some interesting tracks, some bangers, some fun joints. There was the odd Migos song or feature that I liked, but by now, after they just oversaturated the market for a couple of years, I get absolutely nothing from Migos features or anything that they do. But that's just me, man. I'm not being a hater. I'm just being honest. If you're a Migos fan, obviously you're happy to hear more Migos. But for me, they just really don't bring too much to the table at this point anymore. So I thought that was the worst song. To go along with the standard trap production is a lot of standard content, because outside some of that personal stuff that I mentioned on very briefly, a lot of it is just DaBaby bragging, talking about all the girls that he sleeps with, how he's going to steal our women from us. He's basically telling us that through the whole album, man. That shit was pretty rude, man. You're gonna steal my wife? I got a family, DaBaby, god damn it. But that's what he's out here rapping about. You know, you are gonna get a little bit of humor. I think that's one thing that does help here. There's one line where he says he'll pull up with a bitch so thick you'd think he was Norbit. He says that on PROLLY Heard. That was kind of funny. And then you're gonna get some pretty silly sexual lines that kind of walk the line between being funny, corny, and played out. Like, some of this sounds like shit that you might have heard on an old Lil Wayne mixtape from years ago. Lines about blowing candles out on her booty because that's that cake. A girl who has pussy like NyQuil because every time he hits it, he falls asleep. just these type of things. You know, they're not overly unique. They're moderately funny at best. That's just the type of stuff that DaBaby is on, and the features here really aren't that much better. I would say Kevin Gates had a pretty good performance on Popstar. This is one of the better songs. It's very catchy, it has some bang to it, and it's kind of glitzy, so I didn't all out hate it. And Nicki Minaj was working some pretty dope fast flows on iPhone. It is smushed between some of her singing, which I never was big on, but when she was picking up the pace a bit, I kind of thought she was doing good. But I also remembered that she was supposed to be retired, so what the hell? That retirement did not last long, like me being stuck between Miss Yummy and Kosame Dash. Man, I keep coming back to her. I gotta stop, man. But anyway, I'm just saying the shit didn't last long at all. If you know what I'm talking about, you get what I'm talking about. So, you know, I really just don't have too much more to say about this one. I didn't call this review a rant because I really didn't think it was trash. Like, I wasn't overly disappointed. I kind of got what I expected. It wasn't trash. But I am going to go with a 2.5 out of 5 here because it just doesn't bring a lot of replay value. I don't see this having a lot of longevity. Just the same old based on what I heard from him. But I hear so much potential, man. I think, again, that personality is pretty cool. He brings some funny lines once in a while. But if he could really expand more on some of that content, you know, I'm not saying he has to do that all the time, like be a social commentary guy or just be talking about all this socially conscious stuff. He doesn't have to do all of that, but even having a bit more of a split, like do 70% bangers, maybe 30% of that, instead of like the 2% good content we get on here, that would go a long way. Just some variety and versatility, which you do not get on this, man. It just seems very repetitive. I don't know how DaBaby fans are going to feel. Maybe this is exactly what you wanted, or maybe you were hoping for more growth and a deeper look into who he is and what he's been through, because I didn't get too much of that on here. I think the intro track is the best track, as well as Double XL, which is the outro track. This is actually just his Double X freestyle, so you've heard it before. They just put a little bell beat underneath it. Those two songs were good, kind of like Popstar, but that's about it, man. This definitely didn't make me a fan, but I think he could do much better than this. I just think he's one of those guys who has a unique style and sound, but he has to just find a way to make it pop a lot more. I mean, the production isn't overly unique, really, but just the way that he raps and his presence, he has a lot of charisma. Like, that really sticks out to me, you know? That's something that you can't really teach. That's that X factor. He has that. He just has to do some of these other things, get some better songwriting ideas, topics, da-da-da. That's all I'm asking for, man. I know that's probably not what people want, because that's not how he got popular. I'm just throwing some suggestions out there, man, so fuck me. It is what it is. But you guys let me know in the comment section how you feel about this. How do you feel about DaBaby in general? Am I making sense? Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree? Da-da-da-da-da. Let me know down below. And of course, make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff, man, where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. As I jack my mic up, it's all good. We're gonna survive. And I will see you next time.